Underground Railroad television show and podcast show. And I think what you're looking at in the background is a flag of China and the United States. And the thing is, there's a conflict that is getting ready to go on right now. It's a possibility that there may be a World War III. And you know what? That I'm not going to say that it scares me, but the thing is, it makes me wonder. I don't know how did all of this get started? How? How did all this get started? You know, and our reliance on China for goods on a regular basis, we're like consumers. We're consumers, and you know what? We ship items over to China, and they put a high tariff on it. Tariff meaning you got to pay a certain amount of money, or a certain tax is put on it before it comes into the country. And the thing is, I believe that it started where the China became leery of what was going on in the world. You can call in if you want to, and it's during the Opium Wars. It was Opium Wars, and I believe that they became suspicious of the West. What was the Opium Wars? Is when the British, they were trading with China. Okay, they were trading with them, but then it started silver, porcelain, and opium. It became somewhat legal in China. It became legal. And what happened is after that, the China leadership realized that it was something that was going on that was just wrong. Because what happened in China is there were a lot of people that became addicted to opium. They became addicted to opium. And it's a war. I think that China sailed over there to try to take care of it. They had a war. And what happened is China lost the war and they had to sign documentation. They had to sign documentation. One, two, three, two. And what happened is the British took over some of the ports. And China somewhat became subservient. They became subservient to Britain. And you know what? And I think after that, you know what? The Opium War and all that, I believe that, when new people came in power, China just would not tolerate it anymore because of what happened is a whole lot of people started to get overdosed. They started to get overdosed and comatose and all these things because of what was going on in China. But I think what China, and I'm not going to say that was the United States, that was Britain, that was the Britons. And what happened is later on, President Nixon of the United States, this is way, way, way future. He met with met with the China president, and they established a treaty. And you know what? And it was a good treaty. And I always wonder what was going on in President Nixon's mind because there was a lot that was going on during that time. A whole lot that was going on. And they signed the treaty and everything was okay. And what happened is we later found out that China produced goods that were lower priced than the United States because they have two different standards. Okay. capital, the way they operate. In other words, America, when they would pay their union worker $10 or $15 an hour during that time, but the China worker wouldn't even get close to that. So what happened is start producing more products in China, and it was imported. They exported it to us. And what happened? What happened is, um, oh, somebody wants to explain something. Okay, it's good. So what happened is the United States became so dependent. Like I said, what I'm on right now, what I have on right now, there's nothing that I have on that is made in the United States of America. And I always wonder. I wonder if President Nixon and the China president at that time, if that was what was on his mind, are we going to make the United States and the world more dependent on us producing products? Can't take them over militarily, but we can make them dependent. And I think that's something that it's a possibility that happened. And I think that it was a good thing at the beginning. But you know what? But the danger of it all is we start to lose jobs. The United States has lost so many jobs. And I was telling associate that I don't believe that the United States can compete with China when it comes to producing goods, because the United States we have union workers and union rights. And I was saying China is suppression. It's suppression. There is no union. I'm talking about in the manufacturing field, from what I understand. And they don't have to pay them. They don't have to pay them the same living wages, because the standard of living is different in China opposed to the United States. And this is a problem. This is a problem that I don't know how it's going to be solved. I don't know. There are things that are going on that may cause a conflict. You know, see, when somebody is making all your clothes and making all your buttons, they have a certain amount of control. And what happens is, you know what, you become dependent. That's like the United States being dependent of oil and gas from Saudi Arabia. And you know what? That's a problem. That's a problem. And we have to make decisions. A lot of decisions. The United States, what China is doing is they are buying up land. This is a fact. They're buying up the land in the United States of America. And you know what? I read this, and what they're doing is they're buying land next to military bases. Okay. And I would say that is a danger to the United States sovereignty as a nation. And the reason that I'm saying that is because you know what? They they have the ability to collect information and data that that can threaten the sovereignty of the United States of America. That's a problem. That's a problem. And the thing is, like, if they want information, I heard the president say if they want information, and you know what, they can get the intellectual technology, they have the ability. They have the ability to, well, you know what, because the United States is in debt to China, they have the ability to buy a company that may have intellectual property that they want. And what happens is they buy that company, then they're privy to the intellectual um, content of how they make the goods and how they use the science. You know what? China's on the move. They are China's. You know, a lot of people say, man, Russia. I'm worried about Russia. I think that one of the biggest threats to the United States of America right now, I do not believe that it is. I don't believe that it's Russia. I do not believe that has anything to do with the Ukraine right now, because for everything that I'm reading is that, you know what, China has control over the China Seas. Okay. And you know what? And there were reports that China, they consider attacking and taking over Taiwan. Should the United States go to war if Taiwan gets involved in that conflict? Should they go to war? That's a question. That's a question. You know, that's a question that somebody is just wondering. You know, should they go to war? You know, and one other danger of China is, you know what, they're building up their military. They're building up their military so strong. And who knows, they may even have a space force like the United States of America. But I don't think that President Joe Biden, I think that President Joe Biden, I think that he is a good man. But you know what? I think that I believe that they have a dossier, they have information on all of the leaders. And you know what they say, that you know what, they do something. And they say, we are sorry. We made a mistake. We made an error. And because Joe Biden, which could be a mistake, that's like there was a balloon that flew over the United States of America and collected information and made it all the way up through Alaska and the States, and they collected information. And you know what? And the Chinese, they apologize for that. And you know, what was funny is, I believe that Joe Biden is a good man, but I believe that somebody of old to believe that you have to just negotiate and negotiate and negotiate. And then what happened was astonishing to me, is that it happened a second time. Okay? And then we in the United States made the statement that it was not from China, which I don't believe that. But tell you the reason that I don't believe it. The reason that I just do not believe that is because if China, I believe, if let's say hypothetically, if they sent another balloon to gather information and data about what's going on in the United States in strategic locations, why would they mark the balloon with any type of markings that indicates that it is from China? Don't understand. You know, President Xi and the Communist Party, what they're doing is they're walking a fine line. They're walking a fine line to appease the United States because they want to continue to sell. And to the Russians, they're saying that we want to negotiate. And what's so bad is our leadership in the United States does not really understand. They don't understand that they do not. I don't feel that they understand. I don't feel that the people in the I don't feel that our politicians in the United States are smarter, are savvy enough to understand it. I'm understanding that, and that's like, has China sent lethal weapons to Russia in the Ukraine? I don't think that our leaders are smart enough to know If I want to send weapons, I don't have to directly send it. I can send it through a third party. They don't understand. You know, this this is a demise. All of this is just good possibilities when I sit down and really think of, you know, we don't want China to send lethal weapons to Russia in the Ukraine. Why would they have to? Why would they have to? You know what? I could send something to somebody, but I could send it in somebody else's name. But do you? But I think that the politicians in the United States, I don't believe that they're smart, and I believe that President Xi he's smart, he's cunning, and he's ruthless. You know, so he understands that power is not given, power is taken. He understands. And I think Vladimir Putin understands that too. And like I say, what China is doing in the China Seas is what they're doing is they're making man-made islands. They have man-made islands already. They have. And what are these man-made islands for? First of all, I didn't even know you can make islands. What happened is you can build landing strips on that island. You can have an ammunition place. You can have radar. You can have all type of things. And the United States, I don't. It's like I love the United States. I love the freedom and sovereignty that we have to be able to express ourselves the way we do. But it's a problem. It's a problem. I mean, in the United States, for example, it was just on the news. This is year 2023, and you'll be able to use this for the individuals that are looking at this. In the future, you'll be able to use this broadcast to see what we were going through in the year 2023. I did not know that the Chinese, they had a police station in the United States of America. I didn't know that. It was on the news. It was on the news. And I wonder how long it has been operating. How long? How long has it been operating? And then the other issue is going on with TikTok. TikTok, for those that don't know, is a social media platform. It's a social media platform. And what they're doing is where you put up a short video clip of maybe you a TikTok dance, a TikTok challenge, something like that. And the thing is, that's not the problem. But the problem is, it's a company that is controlled to a certain extent in China. And the thing is, what they're doing is they're collecting information. They're extracting information, a megadata from the individuals that subscribe to TikTok that can be utilized. That's a danger. That's a danger. That's a problem. And the thing is, I think one state said we will not be able to. One state in the United States said they will not be able to use TikTok, but they did have a congressional hearing about the using of TikTok. And what Mr. Chu said, who is the president of TikTok at this time, is that the servers are somewhere in the United States. What difference does that make if the servers is in the United States, how the server is in California, Mexico? What difference does it make? Because the Chinese still, TikTok, which also is controlled by the China government, they can extract that information any single time that they want to. What difference does it make? And then he comes on and makes the statement that by reading We have influencers that give the children or the young people a warning about using TikTok, which is a social media platform, using it too much. Okay, these are TikTok influencers or social media influencers, and you know what? I don't get it. I don't get it. So in other words, they're collecting information. What can you do with metadata information? Information that you collect by what information do I mean? I mean is they're collecting your email address, they're collecting your height, they're collecting your name, they're collecting your location and your address. And see what happened is, and I do not have the knowledge. I don't have the knowledge to even understand totally that, but I know if you understand that what happened is you can sell that information. You can sell metadata. Okay? That's why you look at an ad. You just got to looking at something on YouTube, Facebook, and what happens is you get an ad in the side about what you just looked at. So what happened is China, a TikTok sells that metadata, and I don't know what other type of things can be done. I'm pretty sure there's other things. If you have a profile and you have a dossier on people, and that's a whole lot of people don't realize. You don't realize that they believe that Russia is the greatest threat to the United States. I think China is the greatest threat to the United States. Will it be for the good or for the bad? What China is doing right now by me sitting up here and doing research, China is doing right now to the United States is they're winning. They're winning a war. What they're doing is they're making loans in the diaspora in Africa. They're making loans to countries within the diaspora of Africa that are mounted on strategical points of their country. What do I mean by strategical points? Okay, they're not invested in the middle of Africa that I know of. I'm talking about on the outside, like Ethiopia, using that for example, and countries that have seaports, and they're giving them loans to building up their infrastructure, but they're giving them loans that they know they will not have the ability to pay back. So what happens is once you make this loan, you have put your parcel of land or real estate up for collateral, and they don't make the loan. You know what? Guess what? Guess who owns them? China owns them. The seaports. They're smart. They're smart. And China, I was looking at something on television. I don't know if it was CNN or Fox Television. I don't know what it was to where they're coming up with a new currency, and President Xi of China made a statement that we are going to create a new world order that has nothing to do with the United States of America. Okay. And what happened is what China is doing is they're conglomerating, they're bringing together nations to make a currency. Like Saudi Arabia is thinking about it, Russia is involved, Venezuela is involved, Mexico is considering to make a union, and Iran to make a currency that has nothing to do with the United States of America. I would say now, why are they doing it? Why are they doing it? Because when we do something that does not please the United States of America, we do not have to worry about sanctions. Okay, that's it in a nutshell. And I was sitting back. I was sitting back. I was sitting back. I was sitting back thinking about this. Yeah, I can understand. And then Iran, I don't even understand why. We had a policy on them through another administration where they just couldn't make nuclear capabilities, and that was scrapped. I didn't get that. But going back to the currency, and the United States is in trouble. See this dollar bill? Back during the Nixon administration, I think in 1961, it used to be backed by gold and silver. Gold and silver. Dollar bill. George Washington. Okay. And what happened is President Nixon took us off the gold and silver standard. So what I'm saying to you is this is a fiat dollar. What is a fiat dollar? I have to explain because there's somebody that does not know what a fiat dollar is. A fiat dollar means that there are so many in circulation. They're in circulation. But what happens is because it's not backed by anything, it's devalued each and every day. So I got so many of them, and it's not backed by nothing. So what happens is we put a value on it, but it's not backed by anything. How can we as the United States, how can we have a debt ceiling? A debt ceiling. And what happened is we vote to extend the debt ceiling each and every 4 years or 3 years. In other words, for people out there looking, okay, I'm gonna just have to describe it like this. Okay, you're in debt with me. I give you $1 bill, a $20 bill. Okay, cool. Say, man, I'm gonna give you on the other side. Say, I'm gonna give it back to you next year. And you come back, say, man, I'm still in debt. It's more money. See, lend me $100. I lend you $100. Then you come back next year and you say, man, I need $1,000. Now, you know what's not logical to me? It's not logical to me. If I keep on lending you money, how can you pay me back? So you know what? This is the state of the United States. Don't get me wrong. I love the United States. Hey, I was in the Navy and all that. But you know what? How does a country keep on raising the debt ceiling? How? You can never pay that off. You can never, so what happened is things are devalued. So what happens is you have to print up more and more and more and more and more money. And what that does is it devalues the dollar. Okay. And believe that the Chinese and the Russians, they know that. But I think the main reason, it's called BRIC. The main reason that they are bringing these countries together to form their own currency is because the United States could never put a sanction on them again, and they don't even have to worry about it. So President Xi is just outsmarted. He's smart, but I don't think it's just him. I think it's the Communist Party. The Communist Party is a collective. They're outsmarting the United States of America, and you know what? And what is that going to do to the United States of America? What it's going to do is we are more debt, and it's going to lower the standard of living in the United States of America. It just is. There's a lot of people that are having hard times right now. The people that are behind And I wouldn't be surprised if President Xi got involved in the Sudan. There's a war going on in the Sudan. I wouldn't be surprised if he flew on in there. And you know what to say? I'm gonna be the middleman. So if he's the middleman, he's still on top. I'm gonna solve this. But what happened is, I believe that China is outsmarting the United States of America, and I don't think I think that they understand that President Joe Biden, which I like, he's a good man. He's not going to pull a trigger. He's going to do everything he can and negotiate. Believe that, but he's a good guy. He's a good guy. I believe that, but I think his style of politics in these days and times, I just don't believe it'll work. I was holding a discussion. I was holding a discussion with someone. Talking about, do you believe this would have happened over under former President Donald Trump's watch? Now, to be honest, now this was a conversation, and you know what? There's something called the canons of journalism. Okay, he's a colleague of mine, and I cannot reveal his name. And what is the canons of journalism means that you know what, it was a conversation between me and him, and you know what, I can't share who his name is. Okay, and made a statement. He said, "I do not believe that this would have happened under Donald Trump's watch." I said, why did you say that? I said, one thing about it. They might not have liked former President Donald Trump, but they feared. They feared him. They feared what the retribution would be. They feared him. Although he's in trouble right now. You know. And I sit back and look at the Republican nominees that's going to be running for president. And the thing is, I don't believe that there's anyone that's in the Republican Party, even though he's in trouble right now. In New York, okay, with the said Sonny, I forgot the lady's name, the Husher money, and I still believe that you know what, he has people that's smart enough to spin it around and use it to his advantage. That I believe, but I think Donald Trump was ruthless. You know what? I think, kind of believe that's the only thing these leaders, most of these leaders of the world, they're smart people. They're smart. And I believe that they're taking advantage. They're taking advantage of Joe Biden. I mean, we got Joe Biden running for president. Never has I've seen a sitting president have people come up against him and say, "I'm going to run for president," because what happens is the Democratic Party always supports the sitting president. The Republican Party always supports the Republican nominee if they're sitting president. This has never happened in my time, but there may be somebody out there that knows what's going on. But I believe that we are in for harder time. Even looking at the weather, man. I've never seen a weather like that. And the next week I'll be complaining about how hot it is. But there's a lot of things that are going on in the United States of America. And like these kids in Chicago going downtown, acting wild and all this, because it's hot outside. And I kind of think at some point, the Chicago aldermen, politicians, alluded to it. They said at one point, the National Guards, we need to consider bringing them in. I think they probably there's a possibility at some point they're going to bring in the National Guards in Chicago. I don't know about New York. I got to give it to New York. New York has security now. They're going to have a drone. They're going to have like a robot rolling around downtown to take pictures and to warn people about things. That's what's going on in New York. at this time. I saw the pictures, and I think they ought to do that in Chicago. But if you like this, you know what? Give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs down. And what happened is my guest, you know what, had to do something else. And you know what? I have to understand it. I really do because you know what? They have lives. But you know what? What I'll try to do next time, if it's Allah's will, what I do is, what I would do is probably have two guests. I have two guests to talk about issues. That's something. That's something I have been thinking about. Because you can invite one person and one thing happens, but if you invite two, it's a shot that at least one of them will show up. But you know what? But for circumstances, and I don't say Eid Mubarak to people, to the Muslims that went through Ramadan. Ramadan was good. This is year 2024. Ramadan was good. And you know what? Ramadan. What is Ramadan for somebody that's looking? Ramadan is where a month, 29 days out the years was Muslims fast. Okay, they don't eat in the daytime. They don't drink water. They don't eat candy. They don't their wives or anything in the daytime. But you know what? What happens is when the sun goes down, they can eat. But you know what? You discipline yourself. You lower your eyes when it comes to looking at women. And women, same thing. And you know what? And you get closer and closer and closer to your creator. And Manyun, I spent in Chicago. I spent time over in Manyun on 39th in Calumet in Chicago, on Marshall Farouk at 89th, Stony Island, and my mosque at 47th and Woodlawn, Marshall Chair. And you know what? Ramadan was beautiful. It was beautiful. You know what? It gives you the opportunity to cleanse yourself, to get yourself together. In other words, you run your car for like 100,000 miles. And at some point, you need to pull it in, not to get an oil change, to get a tune-up. And I hate to describe it like that, but you know what? Ramadan was good, and you know what? It's I would say in the United States of America, you know what? Islam spreading with love, and peace, and justice, and it's just becoming is the fastest growing religion in the United States. No matter how they try to degrade it, make fun of it in the movie. I own the Simpsons cartoons. I demon, but it's spreading with love and peace. That's what Islam is spread. And you know what? But you're another religion. Hey, you know what? There's no compulsion in religion. You should do what you feel is right. But that's my obligation to say that. So you're looking at the Underground Railroad television show, and I'm working with new equipment. And appears to be working well, but try to get Dr. Lee Warren on this week. And I do a show called The Underground Railroad Plus. I do video production in Chicago, Illinois. Where if you want me to do something to you like what I'm doing right now, to film an event, okay, I make you a PSA. I go to a press conference. Hey, the number's right down there, and all of this information will be in the description. And use vidIQ. That's to help you with keywords to build up more subscribers for your YouTube platform or other platforms, and you can use it for free. But if you use it and buy it, I ask you to tap on my code. I have a code in the description. And what happens is that I will get a commission from that. And what happened is that will help this platform to grow. And thank you for the donations that you have sent me through your PayPal account. To my PayPal account. I appreciate that. But this is it for me. I'm finna. It was Allah's will. I'm gonna get up here and get ready to make my slides. Like I said, guests didn't show, but it's okay. It's okay because you know what? We plan, but God plans. Allah plans, and Allah is the best planner of all. So, I ask you to share this broadcast. Share it. Give me some feedback. Okay. So, to cap things up, I think that the United States may be on the losing end to China. Because, like I said, China has weaponry. We have weaponry, but they have hypersonic missiles. And we're in debt to them. And they're using TikTok to collect more information. And they're buying land by military bases to collect information. They've flown balloons over the United States to collect information. Had a police station in the United States of America. They're buying, they're making loans in the diaspora in Africa to develop Africa. And, and they're making loans to African countries that they know won't have the ability to pay back. And there's nothing that I have on that is made in the United States of America. There's nothing that I have on. And we're in debt to China. Okay. And I'm forgetting one. And they're forming a new group to make their own currency. Okay. So they don't even have to worry. They don't even have to worry about the United States of America putting a sanction on them again. And President Xi again of China I heard it. He made the statement, we're going to create a new world order to where it will not have anything to do with the United States. We've been buying. And the thing is, Mexico, Venezuela may join them. And it's a threat because what happens is if they join them and they allies, she might say to them, we're going to put missiles in Mexico and Venezuela, and they're our allies, and we have a right to do that. But the Communist Party in China, they thinking it out. And I think I believe that our politicians just in the United States of America. I love America. I believe that our politicians are asleep at the wheel. And so for me, I feel sorry for my kids and my grandkids because there would be, you think there's surveillance now in the United States. Do you understand that how much surveillance it is in China? There's so much surveillance in China. If you step out in China and you jaywalk, you understand that goes against your credit. Okay. But there'd be so much surveillance in the United States of America. We got it now. But there will be penalties if you do things that are disheartening. I say things that are disheartening about the nation, about China. But like I say, this is not the America that I knew 20 years or 30 years ago. It's just not. Standards of America, living conditions will go down. There are people that are losing their homes, losing their cars on a regular basis. Subprime lending. So I'm gonna end this. And you know what? If you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you hate it, give me a thumbs down. If you think I knew what I was talking about, let me know if you hated what I was talking about. Because hey, I could take suggestions about shows that you would like to see. When we're doing this, we have to be able to take constructive criticism. We have to, because sometimes that's better than somebody clapping from you because you learn. You got to be able to take constructive criticism. They said in the movie, I think Goodfellas, I said he's a big boy. He knows what he said. I know what I said. You have to be able to take criticism. You cannot take criticism. So, go on YouTube and look at shows like Mark Sims, okay, Minister Ben Wallace, Glass, Off on YouTube, and Dr. Lee Warren, Naomi and Company, and Dr. Malik Kufianin on WVON. Speak on it. comes on Thursday. I think it's 7 o'clock. But look at these shows. Look at these shows. You know. So everybody, what I'm going to say now is Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullah. You better call to Eid Mubarak. Eid Mubarak to everybody. You know, that understands. Yeah. Support your local mosque, wherever it is. But news for you, I gotta, shh. Islam is growing in Chicago, in the United States of America. It's growing. With love and peace. I'm not talking about that crazy violence. I'm not talking about that. It's growing. And you know, and what happened is the enemy does not have the ability to extinguish it, whether they infiltrate the mosque through the COINTEL probe or bug the telephones, indoctrinate somebody. That Imam told me, I'm not going to call his name. He said, man, he said, I know that there are infiltrators inside this mosque. Mosque is a place of worship. He said, but the thing is, come, come, give them doubt. He said, we don't do nothing against the law anyway. So the CIA, FBI, uh, any of these organizations that may have infiltrated these programs and monitor Islamic masters. We don't do nothing against the law anyway. So, you know, what we doing? Praying 5 times a day, trying to feed the poor, trying not to drink, not drinking, not gambling. And that doesn't mean every Muslim, because there are Muslims that fall short. There are Muslims whose imams have faith is low and some is high. It's like a roller coaster. The stock market, it goes up, it goes down. But the majority are trying to live life according to the way Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam wanted them to live. And you know what? That's not trying to beat nobody up and trying to hurt nobody. I'm talking about the ones that are following the true teachings of Islam. That's another show. So I'm going to say I'm in the United States of America, in Chicago, Illinois. So links will be in the description. Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan